Oh my God.
Oh,
I'm resident of Colorado for YouTube, Joel Sains. That is my buddy Patrick McCray. That is my buddy Alvin Gallant. That is my buddy Gordon Dymowski. We're here to talk the Avengers, season 4, episode 6, the Masterminds. We got a bit of a heist going on. We got murder, mind control. Very unique episode here of the Avengers. The villains are very. I think Gordon pointed this out the last time. The villains are very unique to the Avengers, and they really stand out here too in this episode because you have a lot of manipulation going on, and it's very. I like how the writers really try to misdirect you here in this episode. What did you guys think of the misdirection here?
It's
was one
the thing about the villains in this and most episodes of this series are intellectually, they're not overcome with their obsession. They certainly have their obsessions, but their intellectual ability is high. So you for me, it gives so many more possibilities, for things to happen. So.
Yeah. Gordon?
Yeah, and the writer of this episode, I did some looking on Wikipedia, is Robert Banks Stewart, who 10 years from this episode, he'll write a couple of Doctor Who episodes that are very much a procedural type. And he also, I think, was the script editor for several British cop shows. So he's got that real sense of not only how to get the excitement, but how to build a compelling mystery that doesn't necessarily fall on all too familiar tropes. Like there's no sense of, well, you saw that coming.
Right. And like you said, procedural. So the detail is good. The happenstance makes sense. It isn't just pushed off to the side for the sake of action or whatever. So.
Yeah, I like how early on too they're doing a really good job of having Steve and Mrs. Peel trying to get the guy to recover his memory because he got shot in the head. And did anyone ever tell you look like Florence Nightingale?
Oh yeah, right. Because the next scene he's going to be dressed as a nurse. Yeah. It didn't take them very many episodes to figure out that Diana Rigg looked really good in these clingy cat suit type things. As if you notice, at one point the camera fades all the way her entire length before it moves into the scene.
It's like B. Arthur in those pantsuits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like is the right word. But yeah, it's and I love the name of this Mensa group, Ransack. It's perfect. It's at the time this episode came out, I think they were percolating Get Smart and Chaos. So, they were starting to pick up on that sort of thing. Another thing I like about this show is that they do make these kind of sly references, which are entertaining for the audience as they're carried along in the what will happen next sort of storyline. But it's an interesting twist here because Mrs. Peel is out of control at certain points in this, and it's one thing that you don't know as is out of control or being manipulated to that point where she's no longer in control of herself. So I found that to be an interesting thing, like how are they going to break the spell here? That kind of thing.
Yeah, when she's jumping on that trampoline, she's like, how did they touch the bar or whatever that was off the ground? And it's like, well, about that.
Yeah, she sort of was acting a little, childishly distracted there. So there was sort of a clue that something was going on with her, a little bit. Even though she was kind of with it in that scene, she was also making those comments while she was bouncing up and down on the trampoline. So yeah, that was kind of the first inkling that her mind had been penetrated.
Yeah. They do a good job of setting up the mind control with the doctor as well, the psychiatrist, and so there's a lot of stuff going on. What did you guys think of the mind control, Gordon?
Well, I think it was. I think it wouldn't surprise me if it had been based on then prevalent theories around psychology. I mean, just 3 years earlier, you had the Manchurian Candidate, where
Right.
so there were, and there have been decommissioned documents that the U.S. was doing similar research. So it's the idea that, okay, they're learning in their sleep, but they're also, as they're sleeping, as they're half conscious, they're learning about, hey, let's go rob airfields. So I don't think it's. I think now we see that as kind of, oh, that's kind of clever, but I think at the time it would have been like a little bit of a radical idea.
Radical idea, but also there were little trickles coming out that this sort of thing was being done by governments. Particularly, we're concerned about, of course, Russia doing it, but we're a Soviet Union at the time.
The best of them was a crazy. This is like he's working in the U.S., but he's a Scottish Canadian. This is true. There's a guy named Dr. Ewan Cameron. Look him up. Oh boy.
What was he working with? Was he doing drugs?
He was MK Ultra.
Okay, so they were doing LSD experiments and various other things.
All kinds of stuff. A surprising number of people who opposed Dr. Cameron fell downstairs. He was, in terms of that world, he was certainly the worst I've ever heard of.
Right, he'd be like the mad scientist who had super secret clearance.
He really
and
did.
If anybody objected to him, they were a security risk. Yes,
that's right. Yeah. That's right. Look it up.
Yeah, Donald Ewing Cameron, born December 24th, 1901, died September 8th, 1967. Was a Scottish-born psychiatrist. He is largely known today for his central role in unethical medical experiments and development of psychological and medical torture, holy shit, techniques for the Central Intelligence Agency, good old CIA.
Yep.
He served as president of the American Psychiatric Association from 1952 to 1953. Canadian Psychiatric Association from 1958 1959, American Psychology Association 1963, Society of Biological Psychiatric 1965, and the World Psychic Association 1961 to 1966. In spite of his high professional reputation, he had been criticized for, among other things, his experiments on adults and children, administering convulsive therapy.
Oh, that's electric shock therapy, yeah.
And experimental drugs, including poison,
LSD,
such as curare, and hallucinogens such as lysergic acid.
Lysergic acid, yeah.
Jesus. To patients and prisoners without their knowledge or informed consent. Yeah, that's not nice. That's just awful.
Yeah, some of that stuff trickled out because some of the people they experimented on went and talked about it in spite of having to sign NDAs and all of that shit. And that's how people like Ram Dass and Timothy Leary got a hold of the idea of playing around with this stuff, LSD in particular. So all of that stuff gave, interestingly enough, when it was all about control, and like you say, torture and control, mind control, it gave birth to the biggest cultural revolution in the mid 20th century, or helped, contributed to that. And it was an LSD in particular was a tool of rebellion for at least a few years. So yeah, it's an interesting thing, and certainly the writers would probably have known about some rumors of mind control and so on. Ooh, that'll be interesting to go into, that sort of thing. So they may not have known any specifics like we know specifics now, because a lot of that information is Freedom of Information Act now, but there's still a lot we don't know, but at least we know something of what happened.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a current thing in this show. It's going on at that time, the mind control idea. And it also is not so much as a Mensa-based thing, but as a Cold War kind of thing.
Yeah. And they put it, again, they write the mind control into the episode because, again, it fits what the group is doing. They need as many people as they can. And hey, worst comes to shove, if they start to remember, they kill them off, or they have somebody else kill them off.
Yep.
Mind control. Very neat idea.
That's how the episode starts. They get this guy, Sir Clive, or whatever his name is, and he's obviously disoriented and so on, and they're trying to figure out what's going on with him. And this other guy, who's also a member of this group, is basically commanded to kill him, to shoot him full of poison, which he does, and then can't figure out, why he did it, because it's all post-hypnotic suggestion stuff. And one of the suggestions is, you'll forget doing this, or you'll forget when you did it, so that you can't tell anybody else what happened. And of course, that happens to Emma Peel. She ends up going along with them on these midnight jaunts and doesn't remember doing it.
What did you guys think of the twist at the end here? A woman is their leader. What did you guys make of that?
Well, it's interesting. It's spice. It's definitely spice. You figure it out when they're fighting, because her hair falls down in the silhouette. And you realize, oh, this person is a woman. But of course, you don't realize. I would have thought it would have been the Archer woman, because she was the one that acted sort of, aggressive a lot of the time, rather than the other young woman that was not really, making that kind of an impression at all. So a bit of a red herring there as well.
Yeah, and I think at the time, because there was this kind of, you have such an independent kind of, Emma Peel is a different kind of female character in this kind of show. So you're going to see, and it's throughout the Avengers, there are various female adversaries. In fact, it reminds me, there was around this time, the BBC put on kind of an Avengers type show called Adam Adamant Lives, which is about an old Edwardian adventurer who is frozen and comes back in the 60s. And
I've got the existing series on digital. I managed to get it off of a service that will not be named, but I do have it. Yeah.
Yeah, and you can. I think you can also find some of the episodes on YouTube. And it's, the cliche is, there's a lot of female villains, and this gentleman, Adam Adamant, who's he has these very obviously fake eyebrows, like
yeah.
And he'll talk to the villain as like, oh, you poor woman, you're dealing with so much. And once he figures out she's the adversary, she's like, oh, I wonder what happened to you in order to to turn you this way. You just want to smack them.
Yeah. Because again, you talk about Emma Peel, you're talking about somebody that's the equal of any man, intellectually, physically, the whole thing. She can take care of herself.
Yeah.
So it makes sense to have female villains that are the same way, which is why they, do that on occasion in the Avengers. But yeah, Adam Adamant is just he is a product of his time, shall we say, in that respect, for sure. I thought it was an interesting idea, though. It's sort of like the Frozen Man, kind of thing. So
that's funny.
Yeah, it's actually.
Gosh, what's you guys' favorite scenes from this episode?
I really like the turn at the end because I kind of always do like that. Where you go from where she's letting the arrow go, and Steed is standing there, into her showing up and telling the boss man that Steed is dead, and then he shows her the note, and the fight is on at that point. So I like that whole build up there, and then of course the reveal that we're dealing with a person of interest who no one suspected. So I kind of like that build up.
Yeah. I like the scene where it's in the middle where Mrs. Peel is talking. They're in Steve's room. He's talking about we went out in the woods, and as she's talking about how they did this whole midnight thing, Steve grabs her shoe and starts pouring out sand.
Yeah.
And then reaches into her pocket and finds the tip of the missile.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's an excellent scene. It's also pivotal because that's the beginning of her. That's just the inkling beginning of her coming out of that, figuring out a way out of that mental control.
Yeah.
Now she can see that it's true, that she lost time somehow.
I like how curious, how Steed's walking around, how curious he is about how everything's like. When he's checking on Mrs. Peel, and he's like, "Hey, why are you acting so strange?" And it makes you can tell he's sort of thinking about the doctor too. A bit that the doctor was acting this way, so there's something going on, and he figures out the fact that he figures out that there's mind control going on. Really well done. I like how he goes into the meeting too, and he suggests something. He goes, "Oh, we should try this."
Yeah.
Well, I also like
the only thing that breaks that is the fact that one of the underlings discovers that he's unplugged the speaker.
Yeah, and that's one of the nice things about the script too, is that early on he unplugs the speaker, and it's handled very minorly because he just doesn't want to be woken up in the morning by announcements.
Yeah,
and when that's discovered, it's. I mean, I love it when scripts actually answer the questions they pose in the earlier, they resolve that resolution.
Yeah.
It's not like a dangling plot thread. It's this happened here, so of course this is the outcome.
Right. Here's the logical conclusion of it here. They do that very well in this series. Even in the sillier episodes, they tend to stick to that to make everything sort of follow patterns, so that you can sort of enjoy those being revealed to you as a viewer.
Let's see. Really good, really fun episode. Tomorrow, doing Dark Shadows episode 1197 with Chloe Thomas. Guys are welcome to join if you would like to. I'll send you a link tomorrow night. That's at 10:30. And I'll let Patrick know as well.
Yeah. What's the episode number again?
1197.
Okay.
I'll,
1197. Got it.
yeah, I'll send you the episode.
Sure. Sure. And what time do you do that in case I get a chance to do it?
10:30. We're gonna start it at 10:30. Yeah.
Okay.
Normal
Yeah,
time.
I'll jump in.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'll send you the episode.
yeah.
But, yeah, that'll be a lot of fun for tomorrow.
I've done one of those in a while, so it'll be fun. Yeah.
Yeah. I just did 94. 94 is like the first Ron Sprott written episode, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just a ball. You got a lot of basically Ron dumping some gas on the fire, and it's like you gotta love the characters, how they're like. You got Joe sort of like confronting Carolyn exploding at him. A really fun episode. But yeah.
Ron Sprott was one of the ones that understood the soap opera form really well. Some people criticize him for that because he would repeat things, but that's what you do. It's true that others did it in a different way and maybe more artfully in terms of what Dark Shadows became, but he was doing his job.
Well,
And,
even when you like, okay, for example, a friend of mine, John Philip Betancourt, he writes a soap opera. He writes To Benight Miguel, which is his own, and he repeats things that happen in the frame of his story to remind you, hey, this is what happened here.
that's part of the form.
Yeah,
Because it's
part
serial.
of it. Yeah,
It happens day after day or whatever.
yeah,
It's part of the form.
yeah, and it's like, okay, you're also hearing how much time passed between when this happened as opposed to when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a lot different to read it as to watch it. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Link to we did not get Patrick back, but link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows table.
He was here. He was here.
Well, he was here. We didn't get it back on, unfortunately. Link to Patrick McCray's Dark Shadows Daybook Compound is going to be in the description box. Link to Gordon Dymowski's Amazon page is going to be in the description box. Link to Alan Gallant's YouTube channel. Collins Port After Dark is going to be in the description box. Guys, tomorrow night, take care.
See ya.
Gentlemen, nice to see you as always.
Bye.